In today's video, we're going to take a look at a knife from the folks at SOG. They're calling an outdoor folding knife. Talking about the Aegis AT Tanto assisted opening knife. That's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me for another Sharp Saturday video where it's Saturday and we take a look at something sharp. As I said, today that something sharp is this SOG Aegis AT folding knife. They're calling this part of their outdoor series, so we're going to do some outdoor testing and stuff on this thing and tell you the specs in just a minute. But first, a big thanks to the folks at Big Daddy Unlimited for sponsoring today's video by creating a situation where you can save money and support the channel by going to survivalonpurpose.com/BDU. You can get your first month's trial membership for just 99 cents at Big Daddy Unlimited. Get inside the membership site, see how much money you can save. If you decide to stick around at the regular membership price of $10 a month after that, then they'll throw me a couple of bucks for introducing you. So you save money and support the channel. I call that a win-win. So thanks to Big Daddy Unlimited and to you for taking that opportunity. So now, let's talk about this SOG Aegis folding knife. Instead of me just standing here rambling, why don't we go down to the old stump top? We'll talk about the specs of this thing, and then we can get to doing some of that knife stuff. Okay, here is the SOG Aegis AT. Let's talk about the specs of this thing real quick while I give you some close-ups, because this is a pretty nice looking knife. So first of all, this features a 3.13-inch Tanto style blade, or Tanto, depending upon your pronunciation, a 0.12-inch thick titanium nitride finished cryogenic heat treated D2 steel with an overall open length of 8.4 inches and a closed length, let me just close it, of 5 inches. The weight on this knife is 4.4 ounces. And the handle is some sort of textured polymer. I couldn't find the specs on what this is. I don't think it's G10. It's pretty lightweight to be G10, but probably some sort of fiberglass reinforced nylon, if I had to guess. It's an assisted opening, so it has a thumb stud opening. So you just open it with the thumb stud and it pops open really, really nice like that. Let me get in the center of the frame and show you. Bam. So just give it a little pressure on the thumb stud, opens it. It has an ambidextrous spine-mounted safety, which is right here. So when the red is up, it's like a firearm. See the red dot there? That means it's ready to fire it open. It's just a really simple little toggle there. And all that is, it's just a little hook in the lock here, which doesn't allow it to open. I'll explain that in just a minute. So with it open, it also features what they're calling an ATXR locking mechanism, which essentially is the same thing as like the Axis lock that Benchmade's patent has expired on. And basically it's got a little spring in it, independent. It moves a little bar. Let's see if you can see that back and forth. Can you see it moving in there? Which engages with the notch on the back of the blade. So when you push the assisted opening, the handle doesn't move, but the little bar does move in there, and it's got a little kind of a cam in there. Once it defeats that little opening of the cam, when you get it about that far open, it just comes open the rest of the way. So what the lock does, if I can explain this where you can understand it, when you push that down, it's got a little hook that comes up around, a little metal hook that comes up around the lock mechanism in this what do they call it? ATXR lock, and prevents it from moving out of the way, so the blade is not allowed to open. So with the safety engaged, you can't open it, period. You can't pull it open, assist it open, or anything. And with the safety off, with the red dot showing, just a little quick push on the thumb stud, either side, right or left, and it opens easily. This one has a lanyard loop on here and a reversible tip-up pocket carry clip. It's a reasonably deep carry. I will say that it hangs in there pretty good. When you get it all the way down in, you can see the little studs that hold it in, the screws that hold it in, and kind of pinch my pants pocket pretty tightly there, so you got to tug it to get it out, which is good in an outdoor blade. You don't want something that's just going to fall out of your pocket. It's also available with a drop point blade and in several different color combinations. The MSRP on this knife is $94.95. Street price I found was anywhere between $78 to $90, depending upon where you go and what different colors are available. But right now, at the time of this video, it is on sale at Blade HQ for just $55. This one is, the green one, so, and maybe one more, I think. So I don't know if those colors have been discontinued or what, but it's a pretty good deal on that one for Blade HQ right now. So that is the specs and details. Now I think it's maybe it would behoove us to do some industry standard type knife testing. For example, one of the I think internationally standard sharpness test is the redneck sharp test. So we're going to do that one with here. And we're just going to get the testing medium here and see if what we can find out. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, it's by golly, look at that. Let's try the Tanto part, if I can do it without stabbing myself. Oh man. Okay. Man, look at that. Look at all that there hair there. Okay. A nice little patch there. So we're going to give this one an A double plus on the redneck sharp test. The next thing everybody wants to see is the paper cutting test. So we'll try that. I'm just going to hold it with a couple of fingers here and see how well it does. And oh man, you can carve little curls like that off. Okay, it's by golly sharp. So it passed the redneck sharp test very well, the paper cutting test, but they're calling this an outdoor blade, so I think we should do a little bit of outdoor stuff with it. One of the primary tasks for a knife, in my opinion, is in helping you create a fire, which is one of the primary survival skills and needs that you can have, is having fire. So it's been raining here on and off for a few days now. I got a piece of wood here that has got some pretty good bit of dampness here. You can see that behind there, so it's damp. And this is not something I normally would recommend doing with a folding knife, but one of the ways to get some dry wood, if you don't live in a place where you can just get twigs off of trees, because I know people are always saying, I'll just break them off of trees and break them off of this, and so did I for a long time. But that's because my environment allowed me to do that. Everybody doesn't have that same environment, so don't make the assumption that everywhere you are is going to be like everywhere you have been. So anyway, I think it's a valuable skill to know, and I think it's really something that can damage a folding knife action really easily because it's not designed to be banging on. So what I'm going to do is very, very easily and gently try to baton a little bit of wood like this, just to get down into the middle of this thing. And it features, it's almost like a full flat grind with a secondary bevel. So it's from the spine all the way down to the edge is pretty much, it tapers down to the secondary bevel, which is really, really good, as you saw. But we're going to see what we can do with just some lightweight batoning. We're not going to get really crazy with it. Everybody seems to think whenever you talk about batoning with a knife that you're talking about trying to build a log cabin, and that's not the case. You see how easy, how gently I'm trying to be with this and not put pressure on the mechanism. Because in a survival situation, I agree with everybody that says that about batoning. You don't want to take a chance on damaging your knife. So this one is this is a dry surface, and this one was exposed to dampness. So I'm gonna try to split a little bit of that off. All right, so that's all I'm going to do. I'm just wanting to get down to this dry part right here. And then we're going to try to carve some feathers, because I think that's a good thing to be able to do with a knife. Little tiny feathers, curls, whatever you want to call them. What they do is they make it really easy to get a fire started, because they have a very, very limited small amount of mass and a lot of surface area. So it doesn't take as much heat to get them to combust quickly. Because the more mass you have on a piece of wood, the harder it is to get that thing to catch fire. These little curls, as thin and tiny as I can make them, will allow me to have the best chance, maybe, to get something to start burning. And once one of them starts burning, a couple of them start burning, then it's easier for the rest of them to start burning, and the combined heat from all these little curls burning is often enough to get something larger started, and you just keep putting larger and larger tinder on there until you get to kindling, until you get to fuel, which is a whole nother video about how to build a fire. There we go. Anyway, so that is a nice little pile of really nice spiral Shirley Temple curls. Like here's just an example of one of them. Show you what I'm talking about. There's a couple. Can you see that? I mean, you know, so really thin little curls. So those are good for tinder no matter what, whether you're using a match or a ferro rod or a big lighter or anything else. It's good to have some tinder that'll get established. But certainly, since we are here in my outdoor studio, and where I maintain my Fatwood storage facility, so I always like any excuse to carve some Fatwood. So we're gonna carve us a little Fatwood here and see if we can do something extra with the Fatwood. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to carve a big piece out right here up top like this, and then, oh man, look at that! Just look at it. Can you smell that? Oh, smell it! It smells so good. And I'm gonna take this piece here that I carved. It's not really thick. I'm gonna try to carve some little tiny curls off of it. Just to give me some extra horsepower to start a fire. Something else that I like to try with these knives to see how well it works is how well the spine scrapes. Now this spine does not feel like it has a really sharp 90-degree spine, but if you can scrape some Fatwood with it, it really is a good way to get some tinder. So let's just see if it'll scrape. Okay, a little bit, not a lot. Not super scrapey. Okay, so just a little. So now the next thing, you know where we're going with this, don't you? I try to keep these tests standardized. I've got my second favorite ferro rod. We're gonna try my second favorite ferro rod and see if we can get some sparks from it. Again, this does not feel like a really sharp spine, but we'll see. Okay, we did get some sparks from it, so let's see if we can get this without the Fatwood first. Not a lot of sparks from it though. We'll try the very end out here, but I don't think that's gonna be the case. Sometimes when you can wear that titanium nitride finish off, it'll get a little sharper. This one doesn't seem to be doing that. So, I'm gonna move this Fatwood over here. We'll try it first. And one more try with this. Okay, so not a really sharp spine, which means I'll have to go to my first favorite ferro rod, the one that is attached to a little tank of butane gas, and it works pretty good. Okay, so that was some of the real world type testing of the SOG Aegis AT assisted opening folding knife. And this is part of their outdoor series, so I thought we would do just some standard outdoor stuff with it. And it's a folding knife, so we're not going to test it on the balance, orientation, and rotation device because that's just abuse. The stress that sort of testing puts on the locking mechanism is just unfair to subject a knife to that. It's just a way of tearing something up for the sake of tearing it up, in my opinion. And I generally don't do that. But I have been asked, and it's been requested that I do a follow-up sharpness test after doing some of the other stuff. Not that we did a lot. We did a little bit of light batoning and some carving, but I thought, you know what? That's not a bad idea. So let's just see how well it does the redneck sharp test after doing even just a little bit of use. And we'll use the same testing medium and see what happens. And oh my gosh, can you see that? Oh yeah. Yeah. See all that? Yeah, it kept an edge through that little bit of use. So D2 steel is pretty good for keeping an edge anyway. So final thoughts about this knife. I think it is a really nice, useful knife. It's a good, useful size. It's not too big to carry in your pocket, but it's big enough to be useful. It's comfortable in your hand. These little cutouts, kind of depressions here along where your grip is really do help a little bit, kind of a little bit of a finger not a choil, but a finger area there. The pocket clip is not too obtrusive. It doesn't really bite into your hand a lot. A little bit of jimping here. One thing I'm not sure about is the safety, if it's even necessary, because you have to flick it to get it open. So I guess you could catch that on your pocket trying to pull it out or something to get it open. So I get that. So, and it's not necessarily designed to be a super fast deployable knife as far as, you know, self-defense or something, but it's just the ability to open it with one hand is really helpful when you're doing something with your other hand. And you can open it up and you can do your job. And if you need to close it with one hand, you just, either side of that little lock there, you can do one side or the other side or just both sides. And then honestly, I just, I mean, I can do it with one hand like this. It's kind of awkward. You can do it, okay? But it's easier for me just to put it fold it on my body, somewhere on my leg or something, and fold it up. So anyway, that is it. I hope this has been helpful. Again, retail street price on this thing is somewhere around 80 to 90 bucks. But this one right now, Blade HQ at the time of this video, you know, is 55 bucks. So if you think this is might be a good knife for you, that's the best price I could find it for. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful. As always, thanks for watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.